Hello everyone, welcome back to AutoCAD tutorial. In this tutorial, we will discuss different coordinate entry system in AutoCAD. So the coordinate entry system used in AutoCAD is called Cartesian coordinate entry system, where the value of the point on our drawing screen is specified by the distance from two axes, which is x-axis and y-axis for 2D, and 3 axis in case of 3D modeling, x, y, z axis. So in this specific part, we will discuss absolute coordinate entry system. So in case of absolute coordinate entry system, our reference point or 0 point on xy coordinate is the bottom left corner of the screen. So always when we enter the value, the measurement is from this fixed reference or 0 point. So the distance, the value is measured from this point. So when I move the cursor in the drawing area, you can see the value of x and the y changing on the status bar over here. So when you move the cursor, you can see the value changing. So the measurement is from absolute reference point, this point in case of absolute coordinate entry system. Okay, so for today, we will draw this triangle using absolute coordinate entry system. As you see, the base dimension of our triangle is 9 drawing unit and the height is 7 drawing unit. So when we enter the value, we will enter the value of x first, then we put comma, then we enter the value of y. So let us start by specifying our first point. So our first point will be this point, and the second point we go counterclockwise to get this triangle. So second point is this one, the third point is this one, and finally we have to come back to our starting point. So let me specify my starting point as 1 comma 10, which means 1 drawing unit towards x-axis and 10 drawing unit towards y-axis from absolute reference. So to draw this triangle, I have to use line command since there is no triangle command under drawing toolbar. So let me start line command. So I can simply start line command by clicking the icon from draw toolbar, since using draw toolbar is the easiest method of entering commands as per the discussion made in the previous tutorial. So click on line command. So after clicking on line command, I have to look at the command line. So the command line is requesting me to specify the first point. So the first point with absolute coordinate entry system, which I need to specify, is 1 comma 10. This is my preference. So 1 is the x value, because the x value must be written first, then comma, then 10. So this means my first point will be located by shifting 1 distance towards x-axis from absolute reference point, which is the bottom left corner of AutoCAD screen or drawing area. Then 10 is y distance, which is the value from 0 towards y-axis. So I have to press enter key after typing 1 comma 10. So this is my starting point, which is located at 1 comma 10, 1 distance towards x and 1 distance 10 distance towards y. So the next point is this point. So to get the next point, we have to add the value of previous x distance from the origin, which is 1, to the base dimension, because the horizontal line, there is no change toward this y-axis, but there is change in x-axis. So 1 plus 9, the next value will be 10 for x-axis. Then there is no change for y because we are drawing horizontal line, so it will be 10 comma 10. So I have to press enter key. So now I get the the base of my triangle, then the height is 7, but my location here is 10 distance towards x from the origin, from the reference, and 10 towards y. So to get the vertical line having 7 units from this point, I have to make the measurement from the absolute reference. So I have to add 7 unit to y value, but since there is no change on x dimension, so I have to put x value as 10. So the next point is 10 towards x vertical line, then 17 towards y, then press enter. Then finally the final point will be our starting point. I can finish by typing C or close to the starting point, or my starting point was initially 1, 10, then press enter. Now I am done with my triangle, but the line command still appears. To terminate the command, I will again press enter key, then I will get this triangle. So if we see the dimension of our triangle, it must be the same as the dimension mentioned on the above triangle. So the height, the base dimension is also 9, which is the same as this one. So this is the absolute coordinate entry system. Our measurement is always from the fixed reference point. The other coordinate entry system is relative coordinate entry system. So in this case, the reference point always changes. That means the last point we enter will be the reference point for the next point. So our target is to draw this object using relative coordinate entry system. So when we enter the values using relative coordinate entry system, the values must be preceded by at sign to indicate relative. So at, then the x value, comma, the y value. So let us start working on this command. So I have to go to line command, then click on line. So specify first point. Let me specify my first point by clicking in the drawing area using left mouse button. So this is my starting point. That means this point is 0.4. The next point I'm going to enter. So this is my starting point. Then I will go to this point. So this point is the horizontal line having the dimension of 12 drawing unit. So starting from this point, I have to move 12 distance towards x, 0 distance towards y, because this relative coordinate entry system. So I will type at 12, 0, then enter. This means using relative, it shifts 12 distance towards x from this point, then 0 distance towards y, which gives me horizontal line. Now the reference point is changed from this point to this point, because this relative, the reference point changes. So the next point is this point. So this point is located 6 distance to the left of my reference point and 5 distance towards y-axis, towards positive y-axis. So 0 point means my xy coordinate system will come to this point. So 6 towards left means this is going to be in negative x axis, and 5 unit upward means on positive y-axis. So the next point should be at -6 towards x-axis, negative x-axis, then 5 towards positive y-axis, then press enter key. Now I get this point. Now the reference point shifts from this to this, so 0 point is this point now for next point. So the next point again 6 unit towards x on positive x-axis or to the right side, and 5 unit upward towards y-axis. So the next point will be at 6 because it is towards positive x-axis from my reference point, comma 5. Y is also positive because this to the upward direction, which is to positive x direction, then press enter key. Now I get this point. Then now I have to move to left side, which is to the negative x-axis, because my reference point will be this point now, this point. So I have to type at -12, 0, because this horizontal line there is no distance towards y. Then press enter. Now I get to this point again. This is the reference point for my next point. At this point, since I left with one dimension on one side, I can simply use the commands after all. If you look at the command line, it says specify next point or close or undo. So to use close, I have to type the first letter of that command, C, then press enter. So I get this object, which is similar to our target using relative coordinate entry system. So the basic difference is, in case of relative coordinate entry system, the reference point always changes. So the last point we enter will be the reference point for our next point we are going to enter. So the third coordinate entry system is called polar coordinate entry system. So in case of polar coordinate entry system, we have to specify distance and the angle. So in this case, we don't specify the x and the y value. We simply specify distance and angle. Distance and angle, which is preceded by @ sign, because this measurement is also taken relatively from the last point, which is similar to relative coordinate entry system. So let us start working on this one. So the dimension of each side is 10 drawing units. So the angle between this and this is 90 degrees. So in AutoCAD, the angle measurement is always from positive x-axis. So the positive angle measurement is measured counterclockwise direction, starting from positive x-axis, which is horizontal line. So let us start working on this one. Line command, then specify first point. Let me specify this as my first point by clicking in the drawing area. So again, I will move counterclockwise to get this object. So considering this is my starting point, which is the current point the crosshair pointing to. So after specifying the first distance, this is 90 degrees. So this angle is 45 from positive x-axis. So we take 45. The distance is 10. So my next point will be at, so distance is 10 at an angle of 45. Then press enter. So you get this one. So the angle measurement is from positive x-axis. Now to get this line, the other side, this angle is 90 degrees. So as you see, the angle measurement should start from this horizontal line. So starting from this horizontal line to get to the line, I have to move 90 plus 45, which is 135 degree. So I have to type at 10 at an angle of 135, then press enter. Now again, to draw this side, I have to, my reference point come this point. So from this horizontal line, I have to move 180 degree plus 45, which is 225. So the distance is 10 at an angle of 225. Enter. Then I can close this to this point to get, by typing C, to get to the end point. So this is similar to this one. You can check by dimensioning. So the angle between this and this line is 90 degree, and also the dimension of these sides is 10 drawing unit. So this is the three coordinate entry system we use in AutoCAD while working on drawing.